Ever feel like life just tosses you in the deep end? Everything's going smooth, then boom, you're slammed with something that feels completely overwhelming.
Yeah.
Big
Yeah.
crises, small crises, they all can really shake us up. But today, we're not reaching for those Band-Aid solutions.
Right.
Instead, we're diving deep, like we always do. We're going to explore how ancient Buddhist philosophy can give us some surprisingly practical advice, and not just for getting through tough times, but actually like finding that solid ground and even growing from them.
Okay.
It's a perspective that's been around for centuries, helping people deal with hardship.
Sure.
This deep dive is your shortcut to understanding it. We've got some excerpts here, looking at Buddhist principles specifically when things get rough.
Interesting.
So our mission, it's simple but powerful. We want to boil down this ancient wisdom and see how it can help you develop a more resilient mindset and lead to some real personal growth when things go sideways. What do you think?
It's pretty amazing, isn't it? How these ancient teachings still hit home so hard, even today. It's not about escaping reality. It's about changing how we see things, engaging with reality differently, especially when things are tough.
All right, picture this. A river. It's always flowing, always changing.
Yeah.
It runs into rocks, it gets through those dry spells, it rises with storms. It doesn't fight those obstacles. It just adapts. It figures out a way. Our sources say this river is more than just a nice picture. It's like a metaphor for your life, especially when you're going through something difficult.
Absolutely. And, if we tie this image to the core of what Buddha taught, that river represents impermanence. Buddha taught us that change is the only thing that stays the same. Everything changes. Happiness, sadness, success, failure, it's all constantly changing. And like the river going through calm and rough patches, your life will also have its ups and downs. The key takeaway, the real power, is understanding that this constant change actually gives us the ability to transform. It's a strength that we often only discover when we're struggling.
Let me give you an example to make this clear. One of our sources talks about Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha. He was a prince, living a super comfortable life, completely sheltered. Then he sees what's known as the four sights: an old man, a sick person, a dead body, and a wandering holy man.
Wow.
Talk about a harsh reality check. He's confronted with suffering and impermanence. Just like that. For him, this was a total crisis. It completely shattered his world.
And his reaction is what's really important. He didn't try to pretend he hadn't seen these things. He didn't try to go back to his sheltered life. He dove right into the discomfort, into that crisis. That experience became the trigger for his journey to understand suffering and how to overcome it. It's a powerful example of how, when we face tough times, we can actually unlock some deep understanding and growth. It's like, don't run from it, embrace it.
Really makes you think about the stuff you might be dealing with right now,
Right.
Economic stuff, things happening in the world, personal setbacks. Our first reaction is usually fear, doubt, or even like pushing back against it. But our source makes a good point. What if every crisis, no matter how big, actually has the potential to make us better? What if those things that feel like they're going to break us actually show us how strong we are?
This is where dukkha comes in. It's often translated as suffering, but it's more about this constant feeling of dissatisfaction. It's the feeling you get when your expectations don't match up with reality. And of course, when things go wrong, that gap between what we want and what's happening becomes even bigger. But here's the main Buddhist teaching. Recognizing dukkha isn't about dwelling on the negative. It's about acknowledging it as the first step towards freedom, towards actually making things better. It's like, you can't fix something if you don't even admit it's broken.
That's a good way to put it. So remember our river. When it hits something blocking its path, it doesn't just keep smashing into it. It adjusts. It might slow down, gather strength, or even find a whole new way around. The source is telling us to think about being flexible like that river when we're dealing with our own challenges. Like, take a deep breath, look at the situation, think about doing things differently, and get creative with solutions. It also stresses 3 key things to make this work. You need courage to face the problem head on. You need patience, because change takes time. And you need mindfulness to be present in the moment without getting swept away by your feelings.
Mindfulness is so important. It's really interesting how modern psychology is also starting to see how powerful it is. It's not just some airy-fairy spiritual thing. There's more and more evidence that it actually reduces stress hormones, helps you focus better, and makes you more resilient overall. But like our source says, mindfulness is more than just sitting and meditating. It's about being aware in every part of your life, like how you handle a problem at work or how you really listen to a friend who's having a hard time.
And that brings us to another key principle from the Noble Eightfold Path: right effort. It might sound, a bit effort-heavy. But the main idea, as our source explains it, is about focusing your energy on actions that are actually positive and helpful. And at the same time, letting go of those habits and thoughts that just don't do you any good, especially when things are tough.
Exactly. When you're in a crisis, it's easy to get stuck in worry, blame yourself, or obsess over things you can't control. Those patterns just drain you without actually helping you move forward. Right effort is about making a conscious choice to focus your energy on the right things. Our source gives some great examples. Focus on what you can control, like your attitude, your daily routine, how you support and connect with people in your life. Don't get hung up on stuff outside your control. It's about using your energy wisely.
Then there's the teaching of impermanence, sometimes called anicca. This is a core idea in Buddhism that absolutely nothing lasts forever. Not the good stuff, and more importantly, not the bad stuff either. Our source explains how understanding this can change your whole perspective. It's like instead of feeling trapped in this never-ending cycle of hopelessness, you start to see a glimmer of hope. It's a great reminder that even the toughest times are, in their nature, temporary.
What's really helpful about understanding impermanence is that it helps us take things one step at a time. When you're in a crisis, the future can feel super scary and uncertain. But if you can really grasp the fact that this moment, this feeling, will eventually pass, you'll find the strength to just focus on getting through the next little bit, the next hour, the next day.
Our source gives a really good example to illustrate this principle. Imagine someone who lost their business, which is a big deal, during a recession. But instead of giving in to despair, they use their understanding of impermanence and consciously put in the right effort. They changed direction, maybe even found a hidden talent or something they were passionate about. And in the end, they built a new path for themselves that wasn't just okay, but actually even more fulfilling. It shows how a crisis, when seen through these principles, can actually help you discover potential you never knew you had.
You know, it makes you think. When you face a big challenge, what do you normally do? Do you resist the change, trying hard to hold on to how things were? Or can you find at least a little bit of acceptance, allowing yourself to adapt and explore new possibilities? It's amazing how adaptable we are, how much potential for growth we have inside us.
All right, so we've talked about life as a river, always changing, and how Buddhist ideas like impermanence and understanding dukkha can help us deal with crises. Now let's get practical. Our sources go deeper into 7 principles that can guide you through those rough patches. Think of them as tools based on Buddhist wisdom, psychology, and just plain human resilience.
What's great about these 7 principles is that they're not just abstract ideas, they're meant to be a part of your everyday life. Each one gives you a different way of looking at things. And even better, they offer concrete steps you can take right now to change your mindset and how you deal with challenges.
So let's start with the first one. Embrace impermanence, or anicca. We talked about this a bit earlier, but our source really wants to emphasize the practice of letting go. It's a super important principle because, as we said, everything changes, good times and bad times. Remembering that tough times won't last forever is comforting, but it also reminds us to appreciate those happy moments while they're here.
Exactly. The key is to look at what you're attached to. What are you holding on to so tightly that you feel like losing it would be a total disaster? It could be a job, a relationship, a certain amount of money. Our source challenges us to loosen our grip on those things, not in a careless way, but as a way to free ourselves up to adapt. When you lose something, ask yourself, what new possibilities does this open up, even if I can't see them right now?
The source suggests something very specific you can do. Journaling. Just spend a few minutes each day writing about something you're holding on to really tight. Maybe a fear, a regret from the past, or an expectation about the future. Then write down one tiny step you could take, even if it's just a change in how you think, to start letting go of that thing. Just this simple practice can change your whole perspective, helping you see challenges not just as threats, but as chances to grow.
The second principle is cultivate mindfulness, or sati. This is all about the power of being present in this moment. When a crisis hits, our minds tend to go crazy thinking about past mistakes or worrying about the future. Mindfulness brings us back to right here, right now. When we're grounded in the present, we can respond to things in a calmer, more thoughtful way instead of just reacting out of fear or emotion.
The source gives us a simple but effective way to practice mindfulness. Focus on your breath. When you feel overwhelmed, just take 3 deep breaths. Breathe in calmness, breathe out the tension. It might sound too simple, but there's a real scientific reason why it works. It helps activate the part of your nervous system that calms you down and makes you think more clearly.
And you don't have to limit mindfulness to just those stressful moments. Our source encourages us to bring it into everything we do, like Really pay attention when you wash dishes. Notice your surroundings when you take a walk. Be completely present when you talk to someone. When you focus on what you're doing with all your senses, you're training your brain to stay in the present. And that makes it much easier to deal with stress and tough times when they come along.
To show how powerful mindfulness can be, the source tells the story of Thich Nhat Hanh, a Buddhist monk who went through a lot during the Vietnam War but managed to keep his inner peace through mindfulness. He famously said, "Peace is every step." And that really captures the idea that finding peace inside, even when everything is chaotic outside, is possible. And you can achieve it through mindful awareness.
Our third principle is practice right effort. We talked about this before. It's from Buddha's Noble Eightfold Path. And it's about making a conscious effort to do things that are good, ethical, and in line with your values and goals. It's so easy to get distracted by bad habits or negative thoughts, especially when you're going through a crisis.
I agree. The source tells us to first figure out what's most important to us right now. What truly matters to you? Is it your health, your finances, your relationships? Once you're clear about that, you can put your time and energy towards those things. Even small, consistent effort towards what really matters can make a big difference over time.
The source also brings up a really helpful tool, the 80-20 rule, also known as the Pareto principle. It says that about 80% of the results you get come from just 20% of your effort. So if you can figure out what those high-impact activities are and focus on them, while cutting down or delegating the less important tasks, you're making sure your energy is being used in the best way possible. This is especially important when you might not have a lot of energy to spare during a crisis.
So principle number 4 is develop compassion. This means being kind and understanding, both towards yourself and others. Our source describes compassion as this incredible force that brings us together and helps us build resilience. In Buddhism, karuna, or compassion, is seen as something truly special, almost divine.
And what's so great about compassion is that it benefits you in two ways. When you're truly kind and supportive to others, you strengthen your connections with them, and those connections are so important for getting through tough times. Even small acts of service or kindness can really boost your own emotional well-being too. And don't forget about being kind to yourself, self-compassion. It's so important for avoiding burnout, silencing that inner critic, and feeling good enough, especially when you experience setbacks.
And the source gives us real practical tips for both. To be more compassionate towards others, think about volunteering, supporting your friends and family, or just doing small, kind things in your daily life. To build self-compassion, try using positive affirmations. These are gentle, encouraging phrases like, "I'm doing the best I can," just reminding yourself that you're worthy of love and care. It's a good reminder that taking care of yourself isn't selfish. It's essential for your well-being and resilience.
Our fifth principle is harness the power of intention, also called sankalpa. This is about understanding that your intentions, the things you consciously want to do, are the driving force behind your actions. And those actions shape your reality. Our source connects this to the idea of karma, that your thoughts and actions have consequences. And it emphasizes that having positive intentions is a powerful way to guide your life in a better direction, especially when things are uncertain.
To help you figure out your intentions, the source suggests a helpful exercise. Clearly define your goals, and even more importantly, dig deep into the why behind those goals. Understanding your deepest motivations can give you a huge boost of energy and commitment, especially when you hit roadblocks along the way.
And to make your intentions even stronger, try visualizing. Spend time imagining yourself achieving your goals, really feeling those positive emotions. That can actually prepare your subconscious mind to spot opportunities and help you keep going even when it's tough.
Okay, on to principle number 6. Embody equanimity, or upekkha. This means staying calm and balanced mentally and emotionally, no matter what's happening around you. It doesn't mean ignoring your feelings or becoming numb, but rather accepting them without letting them take over. This way you can think clearly and make good decisions, especially during a crisis.
Our source suggests 2 practices for developing equanimity: gratitude and meditation. Even when things are tough, focusing on what you're thankful for can shift you away from feeling like you lack something towards feeling abundant. And practices like loving kindness meditation, where you intentionally send good vibes and well wishes to yourself and others, can really help you become more empathetic, patient, and emotionally resilient.
And finally, our 7th principle, trust the process. Our source reminds us that achieving big goals and dealing with challenges is rarely straightforward. It's a journey with twists and turns, learning, growth, and setbacks along the way. This relates to the Buddhist idea of saddha, which is like having faith and confidence in the path you're on, even when you're not sure where it's leading.
When doubt and discouragement creep in, the source suggests we look back at our past successes. Remember the challenges we've already overcome and how resilient we were then. Those memories can give us hope and remind us that we're capable. Surrounding yourself with positive influences, whether it's inspiring books, mentors you trust, or supportive communities, can also help you believe in your ability to handle the process and reach your goals in the end.
Our source beautifully ties all 7 principles together, saying they work like a harmonious symphony. Each principle is important and connected to the others, and when you consciously develop and apply them, they create a powerful framework to help you not just survive, but thrive during life's inevitable crises. A key takeaway here is that these principles aren't things you have to find somewhere outside yourself. They're reflections of your own inner strengths and potential.
I think it's so insightful how the source then talks about the hidden strength within each of us. It's like reframing crisis, not just as a threat or obstacle, but as something that can make you grow. It's during tough times that these 7 principles can really unlock that resilience and potential you might not even know you have.
To make this idea really clear, the source uses a beautiful parable about a seed buried in the dark. It seems lifeless at first, but then when it gets rain and sunlight, it starts to sprout. It pushes through the hard soil and grows into a healthy plant. In this story, the seed represents you. The crisis, that dark and difficult time, is what pushes you to discover your hidden strengths. The 7 principles we've talked about are like the essential ingredients that make this transformation happen.
And that brings us to the important part, putting this all into practice. How do we actually use these ideas in our daily lives? Our source gives us 5 steps to turn this wisdom into action. The first step is building awareness, paying attention to your thoughts, emotions, and physical feelings without judging them. Acknowledge how you're feeling in the moment. Remind yourself that this too shall pass. Then remember impermanence, and see setbacks as opportunities to learn, not as failures.
Step 2 is staying present and grounded. This is where those mindfulness techniques come in handy: breathing exercises, body scan meditations, and even little daily rituals like meditating in the morning or writing down what you're grateful for. All of these can help you stay centered and react to challenges with more clarity and purpose, instead of just being reactive.
The third step is to take action with a purpose. This means using that right effort by setting clear priorities for your goals, breaking them down into smaller steps, and celebrating your progress along the way. It's about consistent, focused effort towards what really matters to you, even when the path ahead is uncertain.
Step 4 is to build connections and be kind. This highlights how important it is to both give and receive support during tough times. It means being compassionate towards others by helping them and understanding them, but it also means treating yourself with that same compassion, recognizing your own worth, and being kind to yourself no matter what.
And the final step is to visualize and trust. This is where you use the power of intention. Picture yourself achieving what you want, really feel those positive emotions, and then let go of the need to control the exact timing or outcome. Trust in the journey and draw strength from your past successes and times when you showed resilience.
And then comes this really powerful realization from the source: you are enough. It emphasizes that you already have the strength, the inner resources to get through life's challenges and succeed. These principles aren't about finding something new outside yourself. They're about waking up those qualities that are already within you. Your ability to be present through mindfulness, your clarity of purpose through intention, your capacity for compassion, and your resilience through equanimity and trust.
It's a really empowering message that encourages us to see ourselves in a new light, with self-affirmation and self-belief, even when we're feeling doubt and fear. It's about recognizing your own abilities and trusting your inner wisdom.
And to wrap things up, our source gives us a call to action. Pick one of these 7 principles to focus on today. Take a small, deliberate action related to that principle. It reminds us that crises aren't there to break us. They're there to help us build character and show us our inner strength. The final message is this: you have the power to rise above your challenges, turn obstacles into opportunities to grow, and come out of difficult times stronger, wiser, and more resilient.
So we've reached the end of our deep dive. We've seen how ancient Buddhist philosophy gives us a surprisingly practical and empowering way to navigate those inevitable crises in life. The key takeaway is understanding that everything changes and actively developing the inner strength to not just survive, but to find ways to grow and transform during difficult times.
Exactly. Today we wanted to help you understand these timeless principles and, more importantly, how you can use them in your own life starting today. So here's something to think about. Which of these 7 principles really speaks to you, given the challenges you're facing right now? And what's one tiny concrete step you can take today to bring even a little bit of that principle into your life? Our sources suggest that exploring these ideas further can unlock even more resilience and inner peace as you navigate your journey. We really hope this deep dive has given you a new and helpful way of looking at things.